Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So as you know, we've been progressing with the Caddy quite a lot recently. So we've got the engine in and all of the electrics on the inside, but there's a little bit of announcement that I want to make. I've been playing with the idea of changing the diesel engine to a petrol engine, but I'm not too sure exactly what engine I'm going to choose at the moment. So I need you guys to comment down below on what engine you think I should change it to. It's a bit disappointing that I'm going to change the engine. So at the moment it's a PD130 from a Mark IV Golf. Most of the stuff is in, but as you can see I've already started removing some of the stuff. It is a bit disappointing that I'm taking the engine out as I've put a lot of work into it, but we can use this opportunity to go through every single part that you need for PD130 swap. So I'll take the engine out and we can go through every single part that you need, from the optional parts to the parts that you really need. So we'll start off by removing everything that is connected to the engine. I've got my dad helping me to remove all of the bolts that go into the mounts, and then we just lift it up and guide it away. Okay, so now the engine's out, we can go through all of the parts that you're going to need for PD130 swap. So let me just quickly show you the engine and then we can go through the other parts. The engine's fully out. I've taken out every single thing that you will need. Also, some of the wiring I've disconnected, like the alternator exit wire. Here's the engine. So when you're doing the swap, you'll need a PD130. They normally come in the Mark IV platform, so the Golf, Seat Leons I believe, and there are some other cars that you can get them from. My one is from a Mark IV Golf. It has an EGR blanking plate over here. I've also disconnected the gearbox to show you guys that, and then looking around this side is fairly stock. But yeah, the first thing you need is the engine. So once you've picked the engine for the car, you need to decide on what gearbox you're going for. I went for O2J, but there's many different varieties that you can go for. The reason I went for O2J is it comes with the shifter mechanism already on there, and you can use the shifter inside of the car with this gearbox. Another thing to think about is the cups on the gearbox itself. You have to get 100mm cups to pair with the drive shafts, and the drive shafts are readily available as well from companies like Retrofication. So these are the gearbox parts which we can add to the list now. You need something to hold up your engine. They do various mounting kits online from different companies that are readily available also. There's a company called Epitech which sell the mounts. You're going to need one for the top of the gearbox, one for the rear or sort of underneath of the gearbox, which is this one over here, and then this rubber goes onto it as well. And then you got one for the front and then one for the driver's side of the engine. Pairing all of these mounts will get your engine into the Mark 1. So let's get these engine mounts added to the list. So once you're driving along the road, you're going to need something to cool down your engine swap. I went with the radiator with the shroud on it just to keep it cool, and I think this is one of the original shrouds, just repainted just to make it look nice and neat. You'll also need a temperature switch to make the fan kick on and off, which I believe you can use the original one. You'll also need some custom hoses. There are lots of kits on Facebook and eBay where you can find the custom coolant hoses to use. This will also attach up to your original coolant bottle inside of your Mark 1. So yeah, let's get the radiator added to the list. So the next thing on the list is cooling the air down from the turbo. As the PD130 has a turbo on it, which isn't the biggest, but still you need to cool the air down to be able to make it efficient. This means that you'll need some sort of intercooler in the car to cool down the air. So you'll need an intercooler, some custom piping work for the intercooler. You'll also need the original air intake. This one's painted black, but you'll need one of them. And you'll also need the sensor
that measures the temperature of the air and how much air is going in. Once you got all of these bits, you're done with the turbo piping. Let's get all of these parts added to the list. Don't forget, you'll also need some rubber joiners and some clips to attach it all together. You don't want anything leaking when you're driving down the road. Time to move on to electrical. You'll need the ECU from the car. Once you have the ECU, you need to get it deimmobilized so you're able to run it on the Mark 1 platform. You'll also need a wiring loom. The wiring loom can be modified directly to the Mark 1 fuse box. Find someone online. There are lots of people on the forums and on Facebook that can modify your Mark 1 loom to attach to the PD loom. This is how my one looks, which is very clean. It does look a bit messy just because it's all jumbled up. Don't cheap out when modifying your loom. You don't want any issues or electrical gremlins in the future, so just get a professional to do it. If you're feeling really lucky, then you can try it yourself, but I'd recommend sending it off for someone that knows what they're doing to do it. Let's get the loom and the ECU added to the list.
So speaking of electrical gremlins, today's sponsor of the episode is TopDon. TopDon offer an OBD device that can be plugged in directly to your car and connected via Android or iPhone. I have this Volkswagen Golf that the dashboard is lit up like a Christmas tree, so I'm going to use TopScan from TopDon to scan the car to see what the errors are. So the first step is to download the app from the Apple Store. So once you've got the app downloaded, you want to click Diagnostic, then find your vehicle manufacturer on the list. There are so many different models that are supported, and I'm going to download the VW package for the Golf. So once you have the package installed, select your manufacturer and then click Automatic and then read out the VIN number. Tap Confirm. Select your vehicle type, which mine is a Golf. Then select Auto Scan. The difference between this code reader and a generic code reader that you can find online is this actually scans all of the modules in the car for error codes rather than just generic engine error codes. Select Auto Scan in the bottom left corner, and then now it's reading every module in the car. As you can see, engine control module 1, transmission, brakes, air conditioning, central electrics, and so on. What also makes a TopDon a good OBD scanner is you have a reporting function. So it's not only for the hobbyist. If you have a garage, you can also use it, as it's a good way to send a report to the customer. So you can enter the submodel, the plate, the customer's name, the phone number of the customer, and then it will show you a full report of the diagnostic. There are also hot functions that you can do, like oil service light reset, electric park and brake, throttle and battery reset. You can also control each control unit and also get repair information. So if you guys want to get yourself a TopDon scanner, click the link in the description below. Thanks again to TopDon for sponsoring this video. Let's get back to the parts that we need for the PD swap.
So moving on to the fuel side of the swap, you need a fuel filter and a pump if you want. I have spoken to a couple people about running a pump. Some people do and some people don't. Some people use an inline pump or a lifter pump. Don't forget, you need a fuel filter to filter out all of the dirt from the Mark 1 tank and from the fuel. Another option is to install a fuel cooler. This will cool down the fuel that is returned from the engine into the tank. They're not very expensive, so just have a look on eBay for a PD fuel cooler and get one of them. You don't want your tank to be getting really hot in the summer. Moving on to the last bit over here, which is a downpipe. You want a downpipe that will fit onto the PD platform, and then you can fit whatever exhaust system from the back over here. But this is something that you need to consider when thinking about doing the swap. Let's get all of these items added to the list.
So the last thing that I haven't taken off the car yet is the accelerator pedal. You need to get an accelerator pedal and also a mount that will allow you to mount it to the body of the car. You can get these from Retrofication. And then you also need a hydraulic clutch kit. So you can also use the clutch with a wire conversion, which I've heard isn't the best. It's quite a heavy pedal feel, so I'd recommend that you go for the hydraulic clutch conversion kit. So we can add them 2 items to the list as well.
That's everything that you'll need to swap a PD130 into your Mark 1 platform. There might be a couple other things that I've missed out, but that's a general idea. If you get most of these things, you'll be able to swap a PD into your car.
So one thing I struggled with when doing the PD swap is finding the actual parts that I need. So what I've done for you guys, I've put the parts list and put the part numbers at the end of the episode so you guys can find the parts that you need. So that's it for this episode, guys. If you have any questions about the PD swap, comment them down below and I'll get back to you. Also, don't forget, I need your guys' help to decide on what engine to go with the Caddy. So comment all of your suggestions down below and what you think the best engine would be. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you on the next one.